There's a truth that echoes through time. What you do speaks so loudly that people won't need to hear your words. When you live your life with excellence, intention, and integrity, your actions become the evidence of your purpose. Words, as powerful as they can be, sometimes fall short, but actions cut through doubt, bypass misunderstandings, and touch the heart directly. When you truly understand this principle, you stop striving to prove yourself to others with explanations. You no longer feel the need to defend your calling, your work, or your efforts. Instead, you pour your energy into the work itself. Excellence becomes your language. Your actions become your voice, and they speak with a resonance that words cannot match. Consider this: when a tree bears fruit, it doesn't have to shout, "I'm an apple tree," the fruit is its proof. The quality, the ripeness, the sweetness of the apple speaks volumes about the care the tree has received, the soil it's rooted in, and the purpose it fulfills. In the same way, the fruits of your labor, the results of your work, the lives you touch, the legacy you build, are the clearest testament to who you are and what you do. But this isn't just about avoiding explanations, it's about trusting the process. There's a discipline in allowing your actions to be your witness. It requires patience because the results don't always show immediately. It demands faith because the journey may not always look like progress. It takes courage because the world often pressures us to justify, to explain, to declare. But when you trust the process and commit yourself to the work, you understand that your impact will be undeniable, even if it's not instant. People will notice the way you carry yourself. They'll see the dedication in how you show up, the excellence in what you produce, the consistency in how you deliver. Without a single word, they'll know that there's something different about you. And it's not because you told them, it's because you showed them. Actions are universal. They transcend language, culture, and even time. They reach people on a level that words alone cannot. And when your actions align with your purpose, they ignite something in others. They inspire. They motivate. They call others higher, not because you demanded it, but because you demonstrated it. So focus not on what you say about what you do, but on how you do it. Pour your passion, your discipline, and your excellence into every effort. Let your results speak for themselves. And when they do, you won't need to explain, defend, or convince. People will see, people will know. And your actions will leave a legacy far greater than any words ever could. There's something powerful about restraint. When you hold back from telling people everything about who you are and what you do, you invite curiosity into the conversation. Curiosity is a gift. It draws people in, stirs their interest, and creates a deeper level of engagement. When people ask questions, they open the door for real connection, not just a surface level exchange of titles or roles. Too often we rush to explain ourselves, thinking that if we tell people everything up front, they'll understand and respect us more. But the truth is, when you give it all away too soon, you rob the relationship of the richness that unfolds through discovery. People value what they uncover for themselves far more than what's handed to them without effort. When someone takes the time to ask, to lean in, and to seek understanding, they become invested in the conversation and in you. Think about the last time someone truly captivated your attention. It wasn't because they listed their credentials or rattled off their resume. It was because they held something back just enough to make you want to know more. Well, maybe it was the way they carried themselves or the quiet confidence they exuded. That kind of presence commands attention without demanding it. In life, the most meaningful relationships are not built on labels or job titles, but on shared experiences, values, and moments of genuine connection. By resisting the urge to immediately define yourself by what you do, you allow space for others to see you for who you are. They begin to notice the qualities that make you unique, your kindness, your wisdom, your integrity. And when they finally do ask, their interest is sincere, not just polite conversation. There's also protection in this approach. When you withhold details about your work or achievements, you shield yourself from the assumptions and judgments that can come when people think they have you figured out too quickly. You avoid being placed in a box limited by the narrow lens through which others might see you. Instead, you remain open, multifaceted, and undefined by external labels. This isn't about being secretive or playing games. It's about recognizing the value of connection over classification. People don't need to know your title to feel your impact. They don't need to understand your profession to experience the authenticity you bring to the table. And sometimes the most profound influence you have comes not from what you do, but from who you are in the quiet moments when no one's watching. When you live this way, your presence speaks for itself. You walk into rooms and shift atmospheres. People may not know exactly why they feel drawn to you, but they sense that there's something worth exploring. And when the time is right, when curiosity has done its work, the questions will come. That's when you get to share not just what you do, but the journey that brought you there. And that, my friend, is where real connection begins. We live in a world quick to judge. People form opinions in seconds, often without knowing the full story. The moment you tell someone what you do, a mental picture forms, and sometimes that picture is far from the truth. They think they know your journey, your struggles, your sacrifices, but all they see is the surface. That's why there's wisdom in holding back. Let them see your heart before they see your title. Let them understand your character before they define your capacity. When you lead with what you do, you risk being boxed in by assumptions. People will measure you by their limited understanding of your profession, your position, or the field you occupy. But you are more than a title. You are more than the role you play. You carry experiences, lessons, and a depth that cannot be captured in a simple job description. And when you let people know you too soon, you deny them the chance to discover the fullness of who you are. There's something freeing about not giving it all away. When you refuse to be reduced to a job title or role, you make room for relationships that are built on authenticity. You aren't measured by what you can provide, but by the substance of your character. And isn't that what we all long for? To be seen for who we are, not just what we do. Some people walk into a room and immediately announce their position. They think it commands respect. But real respect doesn't come from titles, it comes from how you treat people when no one's looking. It comes from consistency, humility, and the quiet confidence of knowing that who you are is enough with or without accolades. There will be moments when people press to know your role, not out of genuine interest, but to measure your worth. That's when you must remember that your value isn't tied to the letters after your name or the size of your paycheck. It's tied to the impact you leave on others, the kindness you extend, and the lives you uplift along the way. When you stop leading with what you do, you protect yourself from the shallow judgments of those who only see titles. You attract those who are drawn to your spirit, your integrity, and your essence. And in those spaces, real connection flourishes. So resist the urge to explain yourself too quickly. Let people sit in the unknown for a while. Let them wonder. Let them watch. And when the time is right, let your work speak, not as a defense, but as a quiet testament to the diligence, passion, and faith that brought you here. Because at the end of the day, your worth isn't defined by the world's labels. It's defined by the unwavering truth of who you are, and that is something no assumption can diminish. There's something captivating about mystery. In a world where everyone feels the need to announce themselves, there is strength in holding some things close. When you don't reveal everything at once, you create space for intrigue. People are drawn to what they don't fully understand. It's human nature to lean in when something or someone feels just out of reach. That's the power of building intrigue and interest. Too often, we believe that the more we explain, the more people will value us. We think if we list our credentials, our accomplishments, or our responsibilities, others will immediately recognize our worth. But the truth is, value isn't found in over-explaining, it's found in how you carry yourself, in the quiet confidence that doesn't beg for validation. Consider this, the most powerful leaders don't need to talk about their authority. They walk into a room and their presence does the talking. There's something about the way they stand, the way they listen, the way they observe that lets you know they are someone of substance. They don't rush to explain who they are because they understand that real influence doesn't come from words, it comes from how you make others feel in your presence. When you hold back from oversharing, you allow people to experience you first. They pick up on your energy, your spirit, and your authenticity. And in that space, respect begins to grow. People aren't drawn to what you say as much as how you live. They don't remember every word you speak, but they remember how you made them feel, how you treated them, and the way you carried yourself with grace and purpose. This isn't about manipulation or playing hard to get. It's about recognizing that you don't have to give everything away to be valuable. Sometimes the greatest impact comes from what you leave unsaid. Let your actions create the intrigue. Let your consistency spark the interest. Let your discipline and excellence tell the story that words never could. When you live this way, people will naturally ask questions. They'll want to know more, not because you forced a conversation, but because they sense there's more to you than meets the eye. And when they finally ask, the answer carries more weight. There's a difference between information given freely and information earned through curiosity. The latter sticks. The latter leaves an impression. You become memorable not because of how loudly you announce yourself, but because of the quiet strength that speaks for you. There's a certain magnetism that develops when you leave space for others to discover who you are at their own pace. So resist the urge to fill every silence with explanations. Trust that who you are, the way you live, and the excellence you bring to the table is enough to draw the right people, the right opportunities, and the right connections into your life. Let mystery work in your favor. Let the intrigue build. And let the fullness of who you are unfold in its own time, like a story too rich to be told all at once. When you sit down with someone, the most lasting connections aren't built on the surface, they're forged in the deep waters of shared values. Titles fade. Job descriptions change. But the core of who you are, the things that drive you, the reasons you wake up in the morning, those are the things that matter. That's the ground where real relationships are built. It's easy to lead with what you do. It's straightforward. But when you let that be the first thing people know, you risk missing out on the deeper connection that comes from sharing your why people are inspired by passion, by purpose, by the fire burning behind the scenes. They resonate with the journey, not just the destination. Think about it when you meet someone whose work inspires you. It's rarely just the work itself that captures your attention. It's the story, it's the reason they started, it's the obstacles they overcame. It's the belief system that fuels them. That's what connects hearts and transcends titles. That's what sparks something deeper than polite conversation. When you lead with values, you step into a space where real trust is built. People begin to see the person behind the profession. They recognize integrity, humility, resilience. And that kind of connection, it lingers. It becomes the foundation for relationships that stand the test of time because they aren't dependent on external factors. But here's the truth, not everyone is ready for that level of depth. Some people are content to stay at the surface. They want the headline, the bullet points, the quick summary. And that's fine for casual acquaintances. But for the relationships that matter, for the opportunities that shape your life, depth is required. And depth can't be rushed. When you hold back on what you do and focus instead on why you do it, you make room for the right people to see you clearly. Those who share your values will recognize something familiar in you. They'll feel a connection that goes beyond mutual interest. And those who aren't aligned, they'll drift, and that's a blessing. Relationships built on shared values stand stronger in difficult seasons. When storms come, titles won't hold you together, shared vision will. Common purpose will. The knowledge that you and those around you are anchored in the same belief system will keep you standing when everything else feels uncertain. So the next time someone asks what you do, pause. Resist the urge to explain too quickly. Instead, talk about what drives you. Talk about the impact you want to leave behind, the legacy you're building. Let them hear your heart before they hear your resume. Because at the end of the day, jobs will change, titles will shift. But who you are at your core, what you believe, what you fight for, what you refuse to compromise on, that's what will define your life. And when people see that first, the connection you build will carry more weight than any job title ever could. There is something powerful about refusing to be confined by a single definition. Life has a way of trying to label you, trying to fit you into a neat little box that makes sense to others. But you were never meant to be one-dimensional. You weren't created to be limited by a single role, a single talent, or a single job title. There is more to you, layers that have yet to be revealed, gifts that are still unfolding, and potential that even you haven't fully tapped into. When you stop telling people what you do, you give yourself permission to show them who you are. You remind yourself that you are not bound by the expectations of others. You may be great at one thing, but that doesn't mean it's the only thing you were meant to do. There is a world of possibility within you, and sometimes holding back on definitions opens the door for new opportunities to emerge. Think about it, when people label you too quickly, they unknowingly limit the way they interact with you. If they see you as only a teacher, they may not recognize the entrepreneur in you. If they know you as an artist, they might overlook the strategist that lives within. But when you allow yourself to remain undefined, you leave room for others to experience the fullness of who you are bit by bit as it naturally unfolds. There's freedom and versatility. Life rarely moves in a straight line. Seasons change, passions shift, and new doors open when you least expect them. What you do today may not be what you do 5 years from now, and that's a good thing. Growth demands evolution. But if you anchor your identity too tightly to a single role, you risk missing out on the next chapter that's waiting to be written. Refusing to define yourself by a title isn't a lack of clarity, it's a declaration of growth. It's saying, I'm not done becoming, and when you live with that mindset, you give others permission to do the same. You become a reminder that people are more than their resumes, more than the roles they play at work or at home. You reflect the truth that identity isn't static, it's dynamic, constantly shaped by experiences, challenges, and victories along the way. People will remember you for how you made them feel, for the way you lived your life, and for the impact you left behind. That impact doesn't come from job descriptions or titles, it comes from authenticity, from walking boldly in the fullness of who you are without feeling the need to explain it all at once. So let them wonder. Let them be curious. Let your life reveal itself piece by piece like a masterpiece in progress. Trust that what's inside you cannot be captured by a single definition. And as you walk in that truth, you'll inspire others to do the same, to step out of the boxes they've been placed in and embrace the limitless potential of their own unfolding story.